Linda A. class. The wallet on the table. Lisa walks into a small coffee shop. She is wearing jeans and a blue jacket. She looks around and finds a seat. She sits down and takes out her phone. A man sits at the next table. He drinks coffee and reads a book. Then he gets a phone call. He stands up and walks outside. But he forgets his wallet on the table. Lisa looks at the wallet. She thinks, should I take it? She picks it up and opens it. There is money inside. There is also an ID card. The name says Mark Allen. Lisa looks around. No one sees her. She feels nervous. She thinks, maybe I should give it to the cashier. She stands up and walks to the counter. But before she speaks, Mark comes back inside. He looks at the table and looks worried. Lisa walks over to him. She says, "Is this your wallet?" Mark smiles. "Yes. Thank you so much." Lisa smiles back. "No problem. I almost gave it to the cashier." Mark says, "You are very kind." Mark opens the wallet. He says, "Everything is here." He takes out a $5 bill. He offers it to Lisa. Lisa says, "No, thank you. I'm just happy to help." Mark says, "Then let me buy you a coffee." Lisa smiles again. "Okay. I like cappuccino." They sit and talk for a while. Mark is a teacher. Lisa is a student. They talk about books and travel. They laugh and smile. Lisa thinks, "I'm glad I did the right thing." The mistake at the supermarket. Emma walks into a supermarket. She takes a shopping basket. She buys bread, milk, and apples. At the checkout, she waits in line. An older woman stands in front of her. The woman pays and leaves. Emma moves forward. The cashier says, "Did you take this?" He holds up a box of chocolate. Emma says, "No, I didn't." The cashier looks confused. Emma says, "Maybe it belongs to the woman before me." The cashier nods. He runs to the door and finds the woman. "Yes. That's mine," she says. Emma smiles and says, "I'm glad we found her." The woman thanks her and leaves. Emma finishes her shopping. She feels good. A lost child in the park. John sits on a bench in the park. He eats a sandwich and drinks water. He hears a small voice. "Where is my mommy?" John turns and sees a little girl. She looks scared. John says, "Hi, are you okay?" She says, "I can't find my mom." John kneels down. He says. Don't worry. I'll help you. He asks. What is your name? She says, Lily. He takes her to the park office. He tells the worker. This girl is lost. The worker calls on the loudspeaker. Lily's mother, please come to the office. 5 minutes later, a woman runs in. She hugs Lily and cries. Thank you. Thank you, she says. John smiles and says. I'm happy she's safe. An argument at the convenience store. Mike walks into a convenience store. He wants a cold drink. He takes a soda from the fridge. He walks to the counter. Suddenly, a man shouts. You cut in line. Mike says. I'm sorry. I didn't see you. The man looks angry. I've been waiting here. The cashier says. Please calm down. Mike steps back. He says. You can go first. The man is still upset, but he moves forward. After he pays, he looks at Mike. Sorry. I had a bad day, he says. Mike says. It's okay. We all have bad days. The man nods and walks out. The cashier says. Thanks for being nice. Mike smiles. A mix-up at the restaurant. Lisa sits at a table. She orders a chicken sandwich and fries. A server brings her food. She starts to eat. After one bite, she stops. This is not chicken, she says. She waves to the server. I ordered chicken, but this is beef. The server looks at the plate. Oh no! I gave you the wrong meal. I'm so sorry, he says. He takes the plate back. 5 minutes later, he returns. Here's your chicken sandwich, he says. Lisa says. Thank you. He smiles and says. Your meal is free today. Lisa is surprised. Really? She asks. Yes, the server says. It was our mistake. Lisa says. That's very kind. Thank you. Giving a seat on the bus. Anna gets on the bus. She finds a seat by the window. She looks at her phone. The bus stops again. An older man gets on. He looks tired. There are no empty seats. Anna stands up. Would you like to sit here? She asks. The man smiles. Thank you so much, he says. He sits down slowly. Anna holds the pole. The man says. You are very kind. Anna says. My mom taught me that. They both smile. The bus keeps going. A visit to the hospital. John woke up with a terrible stomachache. He tried to eat breakfast, but he couldn't. His wife said, "Let's go to the hospital." John asked, "Do I need to bring my ID?" She said, "Yes. Bring your ID and insurance card." They drove to the nearest hospital. John went to the front desk. He said, "I have a bad stomachache." The receptionist said, "Please fill out this form." He asked, "Do I need to write my social security number?" She said, "Yes, please." After 10 minutes, a nurse called his name. "John Smith?" "Please follow me," she said. She took his temperature and blood pressure. Then she asked, "How long have you had the pain?" John said, "Since last night." The doctor came in. He asked many questions. "Where does it hurt? Do you have a fever? Did you eat anything unusual?" John answered, "It hurts here," and pointed to his lower stomach. "I don't have a fever. I ate shrimp yesterday," he added. The doctor said, "Maybe you have food poisoning. We will do a blood test," the doctor continued. John asked, "Will it hurt?" The nurse smiled and said, "Just a little pinch." After the test, John waited for the results. 30 minutes later, the doctor came back. He said, "It is food poisoning. You need to rest and drink a lot of water." The nurse gave him medicine. John asked, "How often should I take it?" She said, "Take 1 pill every 6 hours." John thanked the doctor and nurse. He went home and took a nap. He felt a little better after resting. Maria's first day at school. Maria moved to a new city last week. Today is her first day at a new school. She feels nervous but excited. Her mom says, "Don't worry. Just smile and be friendly." Maria walks into the school building. She goes to the office and says, "I'm new here." The lady at the desk smiles and says, "Welcome. What's your name?" Maria says, "Maria Gomez." The lady gives her a paper and says, "This is your class schedule." A student helper comes to take her to class. "Hi, I'm Jenny. I'll show you around," the girl says. They walk down the hallway. Jenny says, "This is the cafeteria. We eat lunch here." Maria asks, "What time is lunch?" Jenny answers, "At 12 o'clock. Then they go to the classroom. The teacher says, "Good morning, everyone. We have a new student today." Maria smiles and says, "Hi, I'm Maria." The class says, "Hi, Maria." Maria sits next to a friendly boy named Kevin. He says, "If you need help, just ask me." Maria says, "Thank you." She feels happy. In math class, the teacher gives a worksheet. Maria doesn't understand question number 3. She whispers, "Kevin, what does this mean?" Kevin explains it. Maria smiles again. At lunch, Maria sees Jenny again. They sit together and talk about music and food. Maria says, "I like pizza." Jenny laughs. "Me too." After lunch, they go to science class. They do a fun experiment with water and salt. Maria enjoys it. When the day is over, Maria meets her mom outside. Her mom asks, "How was your day?" Maria says, "It was great. I made a new friend." Lisa travels to New York. Lisa is flying to New York today. She arrives at the airport at 6 a.m. Her flight is at 9 a.m., so she has time. She walks to the check-in counter. The agent says, "Good morning. Where are you flying today?" Lisa says, "To New York." "May I see your passport and ticket?" the agent asks. Lisa gives them to her. The agent asks, "Do you have any bags to check?" Lisa says, "Yes, one suitcase." The agent puts a tag on the bag. She says, "Your gate is B12. Boarding starts at 8:30. Lisa asks, "Where is security check?" The agent points and says, "Just follow that sign." Lisa walks to the security area. The officer says, "Please put your bag on the belt." Lisa takes off her shoes and puts her phone in a tray. She walks through the scanner. The officer says, "You're good. Have a nice flight." Lisa smiles and says, "Thank you." She finds her gate and sits down. An announcement says, "Flight 212 to New York will begin boarding soon." Lisa looks at her boarding pass. She is in Group 3. A few minutes later, a staff member says, "Now boarding Group 1. Then, Group 2. Then, Group 3. Lisa gets in line and shows her boarding pass. On the plane, a flight attendant says, "Welcome aboard." Lisa finds her seat, 12A, by the window. She puts her bag under the seat and buckles her seatbelt. The pilot says, "Good morning, this is your captain speaking. We'll take off soon." After a short wait, the plane takes off. A flight attendant brings drinks. Lisa asks, "Do you have orange juice?" The flight attendant says, "Yes, here you go." After 2 hours, the pilot says, "We are now landing in New York." The plane lands smoothly. Lisa gets off the plane and goes to baggage claim. She sees her suitcase and takes it. Then, she walks outside and sees a taxi. The driver says, "Where to?" Lisa smiles. "To Manhattan, please." Carlos opens a bank account. Carlos is new in the United States. He wants to open a bank account. His friend Maria says, "Come with me to the bank. I'll help you." They go to a bank near her house. At the door, Maria says, "Let's ask the receptionist." Carlos says, "Okay. I'm a little nervous." Maria tells the receptionist he wants to open a bank account. The receptionist says, "Please take a seat. A banker will help you soon." After 5 minutes, a banker comes and says, "Hello, my name is John. Please come with me." In the banker's office, John says, "What kind of account do you want?" Carlos says, "I want a checking account." John asks, "Do you also want a savings account?" Carlos says, "Yes, please." John says, "I need to see your passport and your ID." Carlos gives them to him. John asks, "Do you have proof of address?" Carlos says, "Yes, here is my phone bill." John says, "Perfect. Do you want a debit card?" Carlos says, "Yes, I need it to buy things." John says, "You will get your card in the mail in 1 week." Carlos asks, "Can I use online banking?" John says, "Yes. I will help you set it up." John helps Carlos create a username and password. He says, "Now you can check your balance on your phone." Carlos smiles and says, "Thank you so much. This is very helpful." Maria says, "Now you're ready to use the bank like an American." Anna sends a letter at the post office. Anna wants to send a letter to her mother in Mexico. She goes to the post office near her house. There are many people inside. She waits in line. When it's her turn, the postal worker says, "Next." Anna walks to the counter. The worker says, "How can I help you today?" Anna says, "I want to send this letter to Mexico." The worker asks, "Do you want regular mail or priority mail?" Anna asks, "What's the difference?" The worker says, "Regular mail takes 7 to 10 days. Priority mail takes 3 to 5 days and has tracking." Anna says, "I'll take priority mail." The worker says, "That will be $2.50. Anna gives him the money. He puts a sticker on the envelope and gives her a receipt. Anna asks, "Can I buy stamps here?" The worker says, "Yes." "How many do you want?" Anna says, 10 stamps, please." He gives her 10 stamps. Anna says, "Thank you." The worker smiles and says, "Have a great day."